Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster. Confidence higher. Price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome to the Plus Sides Podcast.
This is the first one since Christmas.
It is, because all we did was the bonus episode. Hence, quick plug for bonus content. If you become a member, paid subscriber, you get bonus.
Become a paid subscriber. Don't lurk anymore.
Please don't. No more lurking. Hi, it's Kim and Kat.
Hi, Kim.
Well, let me tell you who we are and what we're doing here. I'm a little fried, but I swear it's going to be a great show. I've been a busy bee today, but it's going to be a good show. So we're glad to have you today. We are an obesity education and advocacy podcast. We are talking a lot about GLP-1 medications and the newest treatments for obesity, and also working hard to help understand what this metabolic disorder actually is, and that it's not a moral failing. So we're trying to combat misinformation with education. And we're trying to crush all of the bias in the land, which I'm sure will take a long time, but that's what we're doing.
So we're here. We're here to get loud.
We are loud and change things. That's right. I have been on a GLP-1 for 2.5 years. I've had obesity since I was a young child. I remember being 8 years old and standing over a rice cake and drizzling chocolate sauce, trying to stay within my points so that I could go to bed and I'd have something that tasted good, to my brain so that I could sleep. And my life has been like that every year for as long as I can remember. And when I started taking a GLP-1 and I had the food noise turned off, it changed my life. Changed my life. I get upset even just thinking about it because I remember when it happened and me going, oh my God, it wasn't my fault. Because if it was, and I've taken all the diet pills in the land, and if it was, then this wouldn't be so. This wouldn't be true. And all of these bad habits that I always thought were these moral failings weren't, because they turned off like a switch. And I still have to do all the things, guys. I still have to move. I still have to consider nutrition, all of those things. But I do not diet. I do not exercise. I move my body and I focus on nutrition and protein. And that's what I do. And that's how I live my life, with everything in moderation. That's my way. It doesn't have to be your way, but I want to make sure you have all the information you need so you can choose your way. Okay. That's my spiel. Kat, tell us a little bit about you. We have to do this, guys, because we have new people that come on every episode.
know.
Find us.
Brand new. Welcome, new people.
So if you don't like it, you can fast forward. I love you.
I love you, baby. Nope. Everything relates to a song from the 80s or the 90s. I do apologize, especially a Prince song too. So,
Absolutely.
My name's Kat. You can call me Kat Carter if you're nasty. Gosh, I can't help myself.
We are a mess today.
Yeah, I really am. I really am. I am. I have been on a GLP-1 medication for 2.5 years. You know what? You just made me think of this, Kim, when you talk about your notorious story of drizzling chocolate over a rice cake. So I struggle with binge eating disorder, and I was ostracized as a kid. I was the only heavy one, so I was isolated in a lot of ways. But this may just popped in my head. Girl Scout cookie season's upon us, right? And I remember I suffer from binge eating disorder, and I know it started as young because I was isolated and I snuck food. I'll never forget that year when I was selling Girl Scout cookies. Yeah. And we kept the stash. The box was in my room when I was delivering them. Oh, some people didn't get their cookies.
Yeah. I mean, Ken and I both
11-year-old. I ate a whole box of tagalongs. Oh, yeah. I can't have anything. Let me go downstairs.
Tagalongs were your thing. Mine was thin.
The peanut butter cookies. Yeah. And it's, it's amazing. Cookies. Remember how, and like Girl Scout cookies is this season, and it's like crack cocaine for a lot of us, right? But now, thankfully, with the medication, it has kind of helped turn off that fixation. Yeah. Because I carried that obsession into adulthood. But with the medication, it's really helped turn off that obsession.
Yeah.
Sometimes not all the way. I still hear the food noise, but the amazing part about it is that it gives me a wall. It gives me
like a control mechanism. Mm-hmm. Like I just didn't feel like I had the control anymore.
Oh, I was out of control as an 11-year-old. Yeah. What? Yeah, or even younger, but yeah. I also like to work out.
That is also a fitty. She's our resident fitty.
I worked out a lot at 320 pounds and at 250. So
eat less, move more is a myth. Well, if you have a metabolic disorder,
especially with binge eating disorder, no amount of workout is going to prevent you from getting your A1C to go haywire. So,
yes. Although it helps a little.
Balance. This drug, would you say?
It does help a little. I did learn that. Yeah, but we'll talk more about that.
It's a matter of time.
It's a nice lead in. So what we do every week, if you're new here, we invite on, if we can, we try it every week. Sometimes it's just a doctor. Sometimes it's just a community guest, but usually if we can have both, we do both. Because the goal is to have our community guests tell their story and give a voice to a marginalized community. And then also to validate that story with facts, science, and data. Okay. So that's what we do here. And we do have a special guest tonight. We have 2 special guests tonight. I'm going to invite on the first. And then Ken and I will go on mute because we have the ADHDs and we tend to interrupt. Welcome, Amanda.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here. I am so starstruck. You are my hero. Wow. I love this podcast and I'm so grateful for everything that you guys have done to help the community. So thank you for having me.
Well, we're so glad to have you. We want to hear all about your experience and your story and the things that you have cooking. And Kat and I are going to let you have the floor and take the space. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. First, I want to say that your story brought me to tears almost. I was like, don't tear up. we're going to smear the makeup, but it's so relatable. Both of your stories are so relatable, and it just pulls at the heartstrings. So, um, I realized that I was fat when I was 12 years old, or 11 or 12. Um, and there was a boy in school who I actually had a crush on, who asked me if my name was Jenny. And I was too young to know what that meant. But I knew when all of the kids started laughing that it was a joke at my expense. And later I went home to find out that that was Jenny Craig that he was referencing. And I was like, I'm fat. And he thinks I'm fat. And I just started realizing that there were things in my life that also indicated that, like the teacher playing favorites with all of the thin girls who were his helpers every week. And I never got to be one until I asked. And that one time he was so, I don't want to say rude. He just clearly didn't want me to be up sitting next to him. And um, that was a rude awakening. I'd always been a really active child, and playing outside and running barefoot and climbing trees. I grew up in Hawaii, so I was always at the beach. And then I got sick. I had ulcers, and they put me on a lot of prednisone. And that's when I just blew up like a balloon. And I've just never been able to have a normal BMI or body weight. BMI. I've never been able to have a normal body weight since then. I have vacillated between very heavy and just heavy since I was I guess since then. I did end up developing an eating disorder, but I went full bulimic. So there was a lot of excessive exercising, binge eating, and fasting, and losing my hair because of poor nutrition. And it's surprisingly, for the first time in my life, gone away. I haven't thought about throwing up once since I started using a GLP-1. It was almost like an addiction, and it just went away. It was like a miracle. It's been so freeing. You're going to make me cry, Kim, with your beautiful face. It's been so incredibly freeing. I was at my in-laws' house for 2 weeks on vacation for a wedding, and no one knew that I was down in the bathroom throwing up every day after we ate. I'm going to cry. I'm so sorry.
Girl, everybody cries. It's the show.
It was torture.
It's Kim's goal to break you every time. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm broken. You broke me.
We break together, and then we come back together. That's why we work.
Well,
then I crack a joke. Go ahead.
Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Sides podcast has partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through the same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really rough, and I didn't share that with anyone. And I definitely had those binging episodes where I couldn't go home. I couldn't drive home. I just couldn't stop without buying a box of cookies and hiding in my car and eating them. And then, disposing of the evidence like I was guilty of a crime, but my brain just wouldn't let me. And this is why I relate so much to both of your stories. So, I do have a wonderful doctor, and I ended up borderline pre-diabetic. And I know where this is going. Both of my parents have been struggling with diabetes, pre-diabetes, and not having diabetes because they fast to maintain they vacillate, but they fast in order to not have to take medication because metformin has been really scary as an option for them. They've got friends who use it that don't do well at all. And they've been able to maintain that way, luckily. But for me, fasting is pretty dangerous and it's never been sustainable. My longest fast was 90 days. I lost a lot of hair. I lost a lot of weight. And I gained all that weight back and more over the course of 5 years. So I asked my doctor about Zepbound, and she said that she would prescribe it, but my insurance definitely would not cover it. And she was right. When I looked into it, it was $1,271.84. I did get a prescription, but when I signed up for the savings card, I'd heard that you could spend only $25 a month on it using the savings card. If your insurance doesn't cover it, it's $695 a month or something like that. And that's temporary. You can only use it for, I think it was seven times to fill your prescription, and then no more. It was done. It was gone. And then you're struck with this $1,200 bill monthly for the rest of your life. That's outrageous and inhumane. It's criminal. And we've all been there, right? Anyone who's lost coverage or doesn't have coverage knows. When I started taking compound tirzepatide, because that was the only option, this was in October, right after the FDA took tirzepatide off of the shortage list. And the community was reeling. They were panicking and stocking up and going to the black market, and they're freaking out. And now I'm very new to this, and I'm hearing all of these amazing stories about people having these transformative experiences and their lives being essentially saved. People who couldn't even walk are running now, and people who had no mental rest are now eating salads and feeling satisfied. And they put the medication back on the shortage list temporarily, and I looked and I couldn't find any large groups of people who had formed a movement to stand up for their right to affordable access. And that was when I started the petition to fight for affordable access. And I've just been doing the best I can to grow the movement. And eventually I started my own baby podcast, and We've got a website to centralize all of the information now. We've got a community blog where community members are submitting their stories so that we can grow some empathy and compassion and put a real human face to the fight for affordability, because I keep saying it is not about the medication. It's about the people who need it. It's about the people who need affordable access to it. Because without compound tirzepatide, there is no affordable option, or compound semaglutide, which is going next. And if compound is not going to be an option, then there has to be a generic brand, or the name brand needs to come down, or insurance needs to be forced to cover for things that need it, not just diabetes, not just weight loss, but sleep apnea and PCOS and whatever else comes next, because we're finding out that it's treating so many things. It's just a freaking miracle drug, and it's just criminal to keep it away from people who have had life-changing experiences, but even more than that, to take it away from someone who has had a complete transformation. One of those people who have never even been able to run, now doing half marathons, experiencing the freedom of living a full life and having the ability to do so without the food noise, and knowing, like you said, that it's not their fault. Taking it away from someone who has essentially crawled out of the metaphorical grave to get away from this shortened lifespan, and to make them go back to that. Because that is what happens to a lot of people when they stop taking this medication. That's just absolutely criminal. And I've started the GLP-1 Collective. It is a charitable nonprofit corporation, and we're going to do everything we can to make as much noise as possible and kick butts. We're going to get that affordable access and whatever else the community needs.
I will tell you, I think it's awesome. And when I came across you, and I was like, how do we not know each other? I was like,
Right. Yeah.
Dave and I are very tight. Like, Dave and I started back, on the pen. And we started together. I mean, he started before I did. He was on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just a creator on TikTok. And then I started Plus Sides with Kat and another girl named Janine, and we all started it together. And so whenever it's weird on TikTok how there'll be people doing the exact same thing as me, and we've never met. Like, not exact same thing, but same movement. Like we're all trying to move the same thing, and I cannot do it by myself. Kat cannot do it by herself. Dave cannot, you can't. No, we have to do it. The whole point is the collective, like you said, and we have to do it together. So I hope more and more people will pop up and we'll grab each other. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's great, especially with the specific focus with the compound, So I thank you so much for sharing your story. I love that you're here. We will make sure to have a link to your site and all the things and your petition in the show notes so that everybody can go and look into it. Okay.
So how we all can get involved, right?
Yes,
Everybody.
so you can immediately go and join and donate to the nonprofit and all the things.
Thank you.
To be able to help because we just can't. And the one thing that I know is that if we are not loud, nobody's going to do anything. Nobody. I really hate to say this, but nobody gives a shit. The only reason they care at all is because there's money involved. And this community is very much marginalized. And I specifically think that, and I don't know if you've seen this, probably not, because I know where you are in your like ideation stage of getting the podcast up and going. I remember, but there's a book called Magic Pill, and Johan Hari wrote it, and I actually read it and thought it was wonderful. However, there is a part in there where he says that he's concerned about eating disorders. Well, all three of us have an eating disorder. Mm-hmm. All three of us have an eating disorder. And in my opinion, and we will ask our doctor friend in a minute, my opinion, I think a lot of that develops, right? It develops because of food noise, because of us constantly trying to control the size of our body, constantly trying to fit into society. Your story about Jenny, I had this boy, let me just tell you, I had this boy make fun of me. I have a TikTok about it. And he said to me, he used to call me Jenny Craig in front of everybody. And This boy was four-eyed and buck-toothed with braces, and he made me feel this big by just calling me Ginger Craig because I was young and had a big old butt. And like, what am I gonna do? I've always been big. You know what I'm saying? And I told my daddy about it. And my daddy said, you listen here. And my dad's a Christian, so he doesn't have the one to tell you to kind of do these things. And he goes, the next time that boy makes fun of you, you say, well, I can always lose weight, but tomorrow you'll still be ugly. And I did that boy. And he never messed with me again. So I will tell, I mean, like, listen, sometimes it works, right? But that's the kind of crap that we all deal with growing up. No wonder we get to the point where we feel like we have to fast, or we have to binge, or we have to restrict, or we have to do with our body. And no wonder we get like that. And one of the things in this book, The Magic Pill book, which I like very much, I would love to have him on the show. And one thing in this book that he says is he does worry about the people who do have eating disorders and the accessibility of telehealth. And I understand what he's saying, but that's coming from a place of privilege. You know, that's coming from that. And he lives in the UK. And he may not live there, but he's definitely from there. He's not, he's got an accent, but he is a journalist. And I think that a lot of times people come from this, like, this is a best practice. You see your doctor in person, it's an obesity specialist, an endocrinologist, and you get your medicine covered by insurance. That is not in reality for the majority of people.
Absolutely not.
So we have to talk about these hard things. We have to address them. We can't just cut people off and say, well, because you had an eating disorder, we're not going to give you care. No, we're going to agree upon how we're going to treat each other, and the doctor can take care of you accordingly. We can do check-ins. We do weigh-ins. We can do tracking food. There are plenty of ways that we can have touch base, because unfortunately in this country, there are not enough obesity specialists. There are not enough even endocrinologists. And if you can even find one, it sometimes takes months to be able to get in with them. And sometimes they won't even see you if you're not coming to them with diabetes or something like that, if it's like you're coming for obesity. And there are not even enough PCPs that have any idea how to dose these medicines appropriately, how to handle your side effects, how to talk you through the nutrition piece, how to talk you through the getting your water and the movement and all those things. We need telehealth. It's coming from, sorry, Johan, but you're coming from a place of privilege on that. That's just our system's way too broken for us to just go, sorry, no more telehealth. So if anything, it's been the lifeblood and the source of us being able to get the care that we need to save our lives. So I think that it's important that we discuss that and we talk about eating disorders and these medicines and what fuels them. And we understand this from a scientific perspective in the best that we can. We know that eating disorders are not just because of obesity, it's many things, right? It definitely, there is emotional pieces to it. But I do think that there's a source, or at least a big piece of it from a biological perspective, that's important for us to kind of understand, and also understand how we can utilize these to eliminate that eating disorder and do the work that needs to be done. I do think that it's important. I don't mean to grandstand, but because we're all advocates, I think it's important that we discuss it. I think that when it comes to this particular topic, is people can be very dismissive, you know, and I just want to make sure that we like shed light on it and we have the hard conversations. And if you have, and for example, if you're listening to this, we must be responsible, you do have an eating disorder, the mental work on this medicine is more important than the medicine itself. Honestly, you are not going to take this medicine, and I've never had anybody tell me different. And all of a sudden, all the trauma that you've experienced your entire life, that much of that dealt with your eating disorder, is just going to disappear. It's not. The medicine
it actually kind of amplifies too sometimes, right?
The medicine almost takes care of the weight loss itself. It's why Kat and I are always talking about how this is not a weight loss journey at all. We just think it is, you know? So the medicine will take care of that piece. It'll help with the insulin resistance. It'll help with you eat less. It'll help with that inflammation that we talked about, right? But ultimately, the mental work that you have to do is essential. And I am going to find us a mental health partner so that people have access to that, because it's another big issue in our country.
Well, there's a whole lot of weight between the ears.
A lot of weight, but that's what Kat always says, the weight between the ears. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done, you know? But people shouldn't be ashamed to talk about it.
No. Because
there's a lot of us, and there are reasons that we have this struggle, and there are ways through. And that's what we'll explore today together. Did you have anything else you wanted to share before we invite in our doctor guest?
Well, I'm so excited to see her and talk to her.
Great. Dr. Ogle, how are you?
You're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute.
Yay! She's on it.
Welcome to the Plus Sides Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so
Yes.
excited to continue this really important conversation.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you.
Okay.
And so I think that we can sort of just lead a little bit off with who you are and how you help people, and then we'll just have a nice roundtable. How's that?
Absolutely. So my name is Dr. Lindsay Ogle, and I'm a board certified family medicine and obesity medicine physician. I am fairly new out of training, so I've been practicing outside of residency for about 2.5 years. And I chose primary care family medicine because I wanted to help people achieve and maintain their health long term, to live longer and fuller lives. And during my residency program, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of elective opportunities. And I worked with an obesity medicine physician who really, introduced me to this field. And then I worked with a bariatric surgeon and some eating disorder specialists. So with having that experience during residency, I really knew that this was the specialty I wanted to pursue. And very quickly, like I said, in my career, I did that additional training in obesity medicine, sat for those boards, and then got that certification as well. After residency, I did 2 years of primary care, and a lot of my patients came to me to manage their weight because I kind of listed that as something that I was interested in helping with. But now I work exclusively as a telehealth physician, and really the two main things I help with is weight management and metabolic conditions. And then I also do a lot of work with opioid use disorder. And I see a lot of parallels and bias and the stigma of using medications to treat these conditions. And so there's, a lot of things that we could talk about from that, but I know we have a lot to cover today. So that's just a quick introduction.
Awesome. Thank you. That's lovely.
That's
and
amazing.
We will also include your information in the show notes as well, so people can find you too. Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, ready. I'm chomping at the bit. Okay, so we have lots of new listeners all the time now. Hi, welcome new users. Users.
We do every day.
Listeners. I'm saying users. I've been at work all day, so
yeah, you better work. The end user.
The end user, right? Okay. So one of the biggest things we always, I feel like we miss is the idea of set weight. The theory, so people, the set weight theory, rather, so people can set realistic expectations on their health and weight loss journey. So, can you expand on that? Explain that. Go over set weight with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, set weight is the idea that your body has this set weight that it wants to maintain, and this started to be explored as a concept in the 1950s, but it honestly still isn't fully accepted in medicine and science in the general public. And it was one of the first things I learned in this training in obesity medicine, and really changed my perspective. But it makes sense. Everything in our body is geared towards homeostasis to keep us healthy and safe. Our electrolytes, we want to keep them in a tight range. Our body temperature, our blood sugar, our pH, and our weight is the same thing. And so there are a lot of factors that lead to what your individual set weight is, and that's genetics, what you were exposed to in utero, and your mom's diet and conditions that she had during pregnancy, your environment, how tall you are, the nutrition that you've had throughout your life. There's a lot of factors that are at play here to generate your specific set point. And what we tend to see is that as we get older, that point tends to go up slowly on average for everybody, but there can be other things that can contribute to it increasing as well. Different conditions, different medications, changes in lifestyle, stress levels, those sorts of things. And evolutionarily, we have it's been most safe for us to hold on to excess weight in our fat cells, which was helpful when food was hard to come by. It was protective for us. And so our body is inclined to do that. So it much more easily will keep that weight on and increase the set point over time. But when we go to try to lose weight, our body has a lot of resistance about that because it's trying to protect us. But we no longer in our modern society, we don't need that protection anymore, but our biology has not caught up to that. And so when we reduce our calories, when we're exercising more, what happens is to protect that set point that has developed, our hunger hormones go up, and the hormones that trigger fullness and satiety, they go down, metabolism goes down, and over time we tend to go back to that set point.
I got another
Just realized
question
I was on
on
mute.
beyond that. With
Yeah, go
set
ahead.
point, because I'm in the perimenopause.
Sure.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
I'm right behind you.
Yeah. Oh,
New
I play
thing
with the
post
same.
gallbladder surgery.
Oh, yeah. Would you say that set weight kind of, I know you say that as we age, does it become like a real moving target for us as we do hit that menopause point?
Yes. Yes. Perimenopause, menopause, for women is a difficult time, and when it definitely the set point can definitely change
Okay.
for various reasons. Obviously our hormones are changing during that time, and then your symptoms, as a consequence of that, hot flashes, poor
Yeah.
sleep, cravings change. There's a lot of changes that happen, but that is a very, very common time for that set point to increase.
To shift.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. We had on Dr. Rosen. We've had him on a few times on the show. And I don't know what it was, but there was this moment where I can't remember what it was, but he said, when you have obesity, and he mentioned like all those things you did, he was like, your body is always trying to survive the famine, but it doesn't know there's no famine. It doesn't know, right? So it's like, but people don't understand, that it's your body's constantly trying to do these things to get you to regain, from the way that it's storing to what it's doing to your brain. And I remember Kat, like when we first started this journey, like on our first season, Dr. Rosen was one of them. She goes, oh, so it all comes down to hormones. And he goes, no, it all comes down to your brain. Like that's what people understand. This is a brain issue. Like this is, but they don't. They just blow it off, and act like it's, you just are of weak-willed. You know what I mean? Not true. Let us explore further.
Exactly.
A lot of times when we hear people say, and this is something I'm trying to bring more light to, because I really feel like people are missing the insulin resistance. Like they're missing what that is and why this works. Nobody asks if it's just about eating less and moving more, right? If it's just about an appetite suppression, then why wouldn't we take phentermine? Why wouldn't we take something cheaper, right? And all the doctors that have been on the show, all of them have talked about how this medication specifically treats the underlying biological dysfunction that is causing obesity for most people, not everybody, right? But for most people. And therefore also type 2 diabetes, right? And they say that it's really the insulin resistance. So I would love for us to explore a little bit, if you could help us understand why this medicine is not just about eating less, and what it's actually doing to help regulate our body in the way that it needs to be. And that would be wonderful if you could just explore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. There's a huge link between insulin resistance, obesity, type 2 diabetes. Definitely for the most part, they kind of run together. And I think that is really highlighted in how we've really shifted in our treatment of type 2 diabetes, and where our newer medications are more focused at treating the underlying cause, the insulin resistance. And with that, we're seeing better A1C control and weight loss with the medications. And then that led to them being studied for the treatment of obesity. Whereas previously with type 2 diabetes, really our medications were just focusing on blood sugar control. They weren't affecting insulin. In fact, most of them were increasing insulin levels, and that would lead to weight gain and making it harder and harder for diabetes to be controlled. And so there clearly is that link there that, the other doctors, like you said, have talked about. And the reason that, or Yeah, I would say the reason that the GLP-1 agonists are so much more effective for weight management compared to some of our other medications like phentermine is that they have that multifactorial effect. Is that they do help with portion size and
Yes.
portion control, but it helps with stabilization of blood sugar and insulin levels. When we know that higher insulin levels will well, I guess taking a step back, insulin helps us to lower our blood sugar levels, but it's a storage hormone. So it's telling our body that we have enough energy, we have extra calories and blood sugar that we can put into our adipose, our fat cells, and we can save it for later. And so when we have high levels of insulin, especially chronically, if it's consistent, your insulin levels are consistently high, then that is going to cause you to hold on to those calories as fat. And make it very difficult to then lose weight, even if you are doing quote unquote all of the right things. If your insulin levels are high, you can't overcome that, and your body is not going to release the calories and the energy that it has stored. Because again, it's trying to protect us, but we don't need that anymore.
Hey, Plus Siders, we're so glad that you were able to tune in for part 1 of the episode. Part 2 will be posted next week. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a great week. And remember, you're not alone. It's not your fault. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name Zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the plus sides, cracking the obesity code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.